So you're also a big supporter of like environmental sustainability, and you've done work. You're an ambassador for One Tree Planted, and you collaborate with Help the Refugees.
Yeah.
Help Refugees, sorry, it's called. Why is this so important to you?
It's just always been important, really. Like when I was a kid, my parents would take us on like sponsored walks with WWF and things like that. It was just like naturally kind of a thing that we always were involved in. And then as I kind of know the impact of the art can have, and with the tiger charity, you know, like Save Wild Tigers are an amazing charity, and you know, like I kind of found out like what were their needs, and one of their major needs was actually fundraising. So I was like, okay, well, let's make something that's going to raise a decent amount of money. And so I did like one of my first sculptures, this like tiger head with 35,000 Swarovski crystals, and we sold that piece and it went really well. And then they persuaded me to do another one, which I was like, okay, well, it's got to be bigger and better. So now I'll do 50,000 crystals and it'll be a tigress. And, you know, we sold that one for 35,000 in Malaysia. We toured all over Asia as an ambassador for the charity. And I spoke at the gala dinner in front of the Queen of Malaysia. And it was this whole journey. But I've forgotten your question.
I was asking like why
is it important?
Why is it important?
So basically, so at the time I was like, what's my favorite animal? Like, what do I want to, what good do I want to do in the world, and what do I feel resonance to? And I thought, like, I love tigers. I feel like that's like my spirit animal. So I focused a lot on the tigers, and then I've been working with them for 5 years. But at one point I was like, okay, I've done like a lot for tigers now, because I'd raised like 55,000 for them. And then I thought, well, what else am I passionate about? And, you know, I really like the Help Refugee charity. I think they do amazing things. I love the Choose Love campaign. So I've made a few prints for them, and then I made them in neon with my handwriting just recently, and we showed it at Somerset House. And then last year I really focused on the environment. And I kind of like, I had a really like crazy year where I just was so obsessed with, like, I read that we need to plant 1 trillion trees, right? So, and then I was like thinking about like, I'm actually
1 trillion trees.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm thinking like, well, I'm a multidisciplinary artist, I'm using all these materials, and I started like reviewing like, how can I be more sustainable? And I was looking at like the paper and how much printing I'm doing. I thought, well, I want to make sure I'm not chopping down trees. I want to be planting like way more than I'm chopping down, you know, if I'm like just thinking about my whole consumption. And then I had this idea that I would like to plant 8,888 trees in the Amazon, and I picked that number because it's 8 years since I was in the Amazon, and I kind of, that was the moment that I awakened to my creativity, and then I came on this whole path. And so
it's personal to you.
So I started the campaign had an opportunity to exhibit at the Tate in July last year, and so I used this opportunity to do this installation called A Letter to Mother Earth, and it was an open apology on behalf of the human race for the destruction that humans have caused. And so I spoke the words and we recorded it through software into sound waves. Because everything is energy, so everything has a frequency, and so like the frequency of plants is up to 24 hertz. So I felt like, okay, I'm gonna like communicate this message through vibrations like projected on the wall of the Tate. And
I just think it's like epic that you're using art to kind of make a difference as opposed to just to be art. Which I think is amazing. And I want to ask you, what if you could give like kind of 2 tips to people to be more like environmentally friendly, what would you suggest?
I think like flying as less as possible, and I do fly, you know, and because I'm exhibiting in Miami, Art Basel, and Switzerland, and you know, all over the place. But I always like think about it, and I'm like, okay, well, what's my carbon footprint, and how many trees do I need to plant, and you know what? Like, I'm a really positive person, so I won't dwell in the like the nightmare of what's happening to the world, but I address it, and I kind of try and take my own personal responsibility, and then I think of what positive things we can do. So for me it was like, well, let's think of a number of trees that makes me feel kind of uncomfortable, that it would be a little bit challenging for me to plant. I was like, I could probably do 5,000, but like 8,888 makes me feel uncomfortable. Yeah. So that's how many. And I'm at 5,500 right now.
Amazing.
So I've got a few. To that. We've got a few more thousand. But I've got a goal to raise 100 grand for charity. So I'm 67 grand in.
Amazing.
So, and then this year I'm focusing on crisis. So I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this. I think I am. But they've just given me a really cool electric guitar. And 10 other artists and singers are all kind of doing our crazy art pieces to it, and there'll be a big thing coming out this year.
You're all doing your bit.